Hell yeah. They don't play.
The topic of the workshop is desire to stop.
Dot.
We have Rosemary H. and Lulu. You're going first, right, Lulu?
Sure, yes.
Whenever you're ready.
All right.
Thanks, Joe.
I'm Lulu. I'm an addict.
Hi, Lulu.
And I'm really grateful for this opportunity to be scared to death. And once again, learn fear won't kill me and I can walk through it. And, I was thinking about the topic, desire to stop. I realized that I was pretty powerless and my life was unmanageable for a long time before I ever had the desire to stop. Because I was convinced that I could warp it, and keep using. And, I flunked out of college and I decided to keep using. Life got crazy and I didn't have any place to stay and I kept using. And, I got fired from my job. I decided to keep using. Like, everything was going to shit. All the good people in my life were stepping away to save themselves and I just kept using. And then, the last handful of years, I decided I wanted something better, but I didn't know how. Everything was just crumbling around me. My house was falling apart. Somehow there was a litter of inbred dogs running around my house with like big heads and little legs, and they were stupid, and it was like a symbolism of what my life had become. And it's like, I couldn't hold a job. I'd lost my job. I couldn't even get a new one. I was unemployable. I even tried to take my own life and failed at that because I got discovered. And I had nothing. Like, I ended up, I went to my first NA meeting in Greensville, South Carolina, because one of my old friends had gotten out of prison. I was going to see him. But, he had no idea what condition I was in at the time, and I had no idea he was being mandated to meetings. But he took me to a meeting, and I remember sitting there, high out my mind, not remembering what anybody said, but I realized that, they were saying that there was a door out of the hell I had been living in, and I wanted so bad for something better. And I don't know if I even understood that, I even had a desire to stop using. I wanted to stop being controlled by it, and I had a desire to stop suffering. I wanted the pain to stop, the suicidal chaos in my head. I just wanted it to end. So I kept coming back, and I, found, when I got back to the Athens area, I looked up all the meetings, and I checked out each one, and I walked in one of the clubhouses, and it was full of cigarette smoke, and the walls were dripping with this brown stuff, and I thought, this is it, I'm comfortable here. And I made that my home group because they met twice a day, every day of the week, and I needed that. I had nowhere else to be, mine as well. And I'm glad in a way that I did not know about the program until I was really ready to do something different, because if I'd found out before without having the desire to stop and without there being so much pain to motivate me, I might have come in and not taken it very seriously. But at the point I was going to meetings, I very, very badly wanted something different for myself. Some people oh, what's your DOC? And it's whatever was available. But one of them was the kind you go to a clinic for, and, they give you prescriptions. And the same clinic that had me sign a waiver saying I was taking enough to die and they weren't liable, sign here. I went and I told them, I want to do something different. I want to come off all this stuff, and they never mentioned detox or anything like that. They're all right, here's this grand 6-month plan to wean you off of everything, which really just made the detoxing last for months. But I was going to meetings the whole time. I went in, I'd sit down and not say a word because it said if I'd used to just listen quietly. And, I actually ended up doing the 6-month plan in 4 months. And I just wanted so badly for something to change and something be different. And I don't know, I never made an attempt to go to a detox facility or to go into a recovery house. I still live in the same house. I lived there for 8 years when I was using every day. Now I've been there for 4.5 years clean. And I just hauled ass to a meeting every day, sometimes 3 or 4 times a day. And I just really wanted something different. And they said, get a sponsor. And I thought, well, she's pretty. I'll ask her to be my sponsor. And that didn't work out. And then I found someone that was serious about recovery, and she asked me what I was willing to do to stay clean. I told her anything, and she said call her every day for 30 days, and I didn't. She fired me. Hold on. And then I found another sponsor, and I was like, I'm going to do it right this time, because for so long before I stopped using, I had a desire for the pain to stop, and I wanted something better, but I thought it was supposed to fall in my lap. Like, I didn't understand, like, the putting the footwork in and having the willingness and open-mindedness to actually do something different, to get something different. And so when I asked her, she said call her every day, and I called her every day for a year. When I got my medallion, she tried to say it politely, but it kind of sounded funny. She said, if you're fine, you don't have to keep calling me every day. You can call me 3 or 4 times a week. And I kept calling her every day for the longest time still. But I realized that if I put the footwork in, I can start getting the results. For me, the desire for a better life falls short if I don't have the desire to put the work into getting the better life. And, since I've been clean, man, life gets crazy sometimes. Having no coping skills for my mental health, and thinking I had superpowers, and sitting around the clubhouse thinking I was invisible and shit. People said keep coming back. Or not knowing how to people. The first person that tried to hug me at the Biscayne, I leaped back and hit my head on the vending machine. I don't remember who it was, but I remember he froze and he seemed more scared than I was. And he said, it's going to be okay, right? And I believed him. And at 2 years clean, one of my dogs, my little poodle of 16 years, died in my arms, and I went to a meeting and I tried to share, but I just bawled my eyes out, and one of the home group members got up, gave me a box of tissues and said keep coming back, and I did, because I want the better life, and I want to grow in this thing, not just be abstinent, but have, quality of life and be able to walk through things like speaking here, even though my hands are starting to shake and I'm scared, but it's awesome because I'll grow. But, life shows up in a lot of big ways, but if I continue to do the daily maintenance of the program and just suit up, show up, even though I have no idea what I'm doing half the time, I just show up. At let's see, 3 years clean, my spouse decided to go back out, and recovery gave me the courage to be if you make me choose between you and my recovery, I'll choose my recovery, and to mean it. And then when my grandmother passed away, showing up for all that and not being a burden on the family, my mom didn't have to worry about me and her mom at the same time. I just showed up and focused on what was in my control. Hug my mom, who needs coffee? Do y'all want me to go get food? And life keeps getting better, even when it shows up, recovery shows up, shows out. My network's a phone call away, my sponsor's there. God's going to listen the moment I decide to pray, and it's an awesome way to get through anything if I just utilize it. And I just need the desire to continue this new way of life. I don't know how long I talked. It might have been 5 minutes, but I think that's all I got.
Thank you.
Damn it, Lulu.
Oh,
That was really good. Thank you, Lulu. I'm an add. My name's Rosemary.
Hey, Rosemary.
Whew, I thought I could be nervous for 10 more minutes at least. Because I am nervous. I don't think it ever gets easier to speak in front of people. I get nervous sharing in meetings. I don't even share in meetings often because I have an ego, and I don't want to hear my own negative thoughts about what you're probably thinking about what I'm sharing, if that makes any sense. And so, so even after doing these many times, every time I think next time I'm going to say no. But that's not what I was taught in recovery. And then, if I'm really honest, leading up to today, I was if anybody but Shay had asked me, I was going to cancel. Not for any reason even, just because my disease loves to convince me that I don't have anything to share with y'all. That feel you've heard it all before, or it's not going to come from the heart. And I think that that's where my desire is today. If I'm really honest, today my desire is to stop saying what I think you want to hear and start saying what I really mean. And I've got almost 8 years clean, and I still struggle with that on a regular basis, actually getting gut level honest. it amazes me when I hear a newcomer come in and like share from the heart and like you can feel it because you get goosebumps. I'm like, how the fuck do they do that? And because it's rare, I have to like talk for 5 or 10 minutes to cut through all the bullshit before I'm going to get to something worth listening to. Has been my experience with my own sharing. And so when Shay asked me to do this, I thought, and it is an honor always to be asked to speak or to be of service of any kind in Narcotics Anonymous. And so I thought, oh, it's on the third tradition. Because it took me a while to like place like the ... is up to you, because she said that, but I don't, comprehend things the first time around sometimes. But that is where my mind goes, like a desire to stop using. So when I got here, I had a desire to stop the pain. But really, I didn't even have a desire to stop the pain because I didn't realize how much pain I was in. I had a desire for the consequences to stop. I was tired of going to jail. I was tired of like hurting my family. I was tired of being homeless and alone. Really, really degrading myself, having no one in the world. Those are the things I was tired of, and I didn't really even learn that until later. I just thought this is a way to get probation off my back. I'm just going to stop using for a while until I can get these consequences over with. And I always share that I'm very grateful for those types of consequences, because what it let me do is it let me get clean long enough to realize that the real consequences were like spiritual in nature. Like when I got here, all of those jail times were like wonderful reprieves from like the chaos I was living in when I looked back on them. Like they came at just the right time when I'd been up for so long and I was so tired and I was so exhausted and I had nowhere to go and no one to turn to. Like those jail breaks were like a welcome reprieve. I could sleep for a few weeks. I could like eat. I could call my grandmother, all of those things. And then I'd get out and I'd do it all over again. Because I was way too high for way too long to realize that my real consequences were spiritual in nature. And so when I got to Narcotics Anonymous, I figured out that this was a way I could stop the consequences, because I came in with some like things hanging over my head. And I thought I was pretty sick of like the in and out of jail. And so I thought I'd give it a try. And this was not my first go in Narcotics Anonymous. I came around a long time ago, and so when I got here this time, there were still some people here that were here then. And then, so the longer I came around, the more I'm like, man, these crazy people who like are fidgety and look like they just got high, can be clean like 16 years, surely I can do something. Surely, because, I'm different and I'm not nearly as bad as they are. But that gave me some hope, because it's like, man, like here are some people who have really stuck around and have really changed their lives. And so that desire to stop using turned into a desire to do something a little bit different, and to stop that spiritual pain and to stop that loneliness. And so one of the biggest things I really wanted to do was stop being a doormat. And so I picked a girl in the room who was like so assertive, like aggressively. Yeah. Okay, she was aggressive. She would tell you exactly what she thought. She would go toe to toe with anyone in the room. She is still that way. She is a ball of fire. And she's an amazing woman. And so I was like, man, I want what she's got. What I really wanted was like, she's not sleeping on her grandmother's couch. She's got like a job and a car and a boyfriend, and that all looks really attractive. And she'll tell you the truth about things and not be afraid of what you think of her. And so I asked her to be my sponsor after I think I came around for like 2 months before I got a sponsor. But that desire to change was starting to overcome that desire to stay comfortable in the pain. And so I asked her to be my sponsor, and then she was like not a call me every day person, and I'm grateful for that, because I am still the world's worst at like picking up the phone. But what she did ask is that I stay in touch enough to like let her know that I'm okay and that I'm around. And we were going to a lot of the same meetings, and that time in my recovery, that beginning, when I was beginning to change, it was like a really I had nowhere to live, so. And I did have a car, and the car didn't have a back seat. So it was like this old Montero that I had like lost the back seat to when I was using. And I would, yeah, cue laughter. I mean, this is like real shit, but so like I would pick up girls from this local rehab in Gainesville, and I would throw them in the back of the car. They would be walking down Green Street. I'm like, come on, hop in the Montero. Hot as shit, right? The metal. There's no carpet. There's no seat. They're just back there burning. And but man, those times in recovery were like amazing. And so like this whole time I didn't realize I was working on myself, but I was, what I was working on was like learning how to have relationships with other people that were really just it was really just about like me helping you and you helping me, and like I didn't have to like be anything other than I was, right? So I had this like really pure, like this is all I got to give right now. But somewhere between there and like where I am today, and when I can like recognize I'm a people pleaser, right? That's a character defect of mine. I don't even like to say that shit out loud because people pleasers get on my nerves because I am one. And because if I spot it, I've got it like 9 times out of 10, and I can, and if I'm really, really honest, like over the last few years in my recovery, I kind of started I went through a lot, right? So maybe now I'll start to like get real. So like I went through a lot in my recovery, to me. It's all about perspective though, you know? So like I lost a dog early in recovery, and that shit was painful. And at the time I thought I would not stay clean through it. And I know that's not, but like at the time that was big deal life shit, for real. She had been with me the whole time I'd used. She'd been my best friend. She had stuck by me, and she ran away when I was at Spirituality is the Key. She ran away from my dad's house. I got home that weekend and she was gone. And I thought I would never stay clean through that, but I did. And then I had a cousin commit suicide, and I thought I would never stay clean through that, but I did. And then eventually using wasn't the problem anymore. Staying clean through shit wasn't necessarily the problem anymore. It was like not acting out, not throwing a grenade at my life that became the problem. You know, so like today, whenever I look at I stand on this like precipice of like change, and I feel like I've been in the same place for like a year or maybe longer, where I'm going to go this direction in my recovery or with my spirituality or with who I am, or I'm going to continue staying the same. And like it had become exhausting being the same. I've worn this mask for a really, really long time, and it has served me well, right? This like, everything is fine, I'm fine, life is great, and I've worn that same mask my entire life. You know, when we were going through shit with my parents when I was a kid, everything was fine. I never, ever, ever could get like gut level honest with like, no, I'm in pain and this is bullshit that this is happening to me. You know, and then in recovery, no, I'm in pain and it's bullshit that I'm like behaving this way and I'm doing things over and over that cause myself pain. But today I can sit here and be honest and say that like today my desire to change outweighs that desire to like stay the same and be comfortable. So I'm very much in the same place I was when I got here. It has come full circle, and that's okay with me because I feel like it's a wonderful thing when I can like be uncomfortable and start to grow and start to change and realize that like if I am not going forward and I am not changing and I'm not growing, then like I'm staying the same and I'm going backwards. And the thought of being the same Rosemary like in a year that I am today makes me sick. Because I did not get clean to stay the fucking same. And I did not get clean to just be stagnant. And I did not get clean to just be who you want me to be. I've been going through some shit with like my home group. And I think it bothers me a lot more than I like really realize. I'm the only girl left at my home group. And I'm one of 3 members left that were there when I got there. And this is an old home group. It's been around for a long time. And it's been a struggle. And for some people in recovery who might be new or might not understand what a home group means, like that's okay. But this is painful. It's a painful place to be for me. Because what it is I'm like, okay, am I going to like hold on to this thing like this? Or am I going to like let go and grow? And so I've been like joking all day that I've been on like a home group strike, but it's really not funny because I don't feel at home at my home group anymore. And then when I look at my part in that situation, I'm like, did I have like unreasonable expectations on my fellow home group members? Did I have unreasonable expectations that like this home group would somehow like be something that it's not? But the reality is, what recovery has taught me is that change is constant. Sometimes we outgrow people and places, and that's okay. It's when I hold on to things that are no longer useful that I get back into that place of like, God, this hurts, but I'm just going to sit in it because it's comfortable to be in pain. But it's not. And like, I did not get clean. And my sponsor loves to say, she's like, oh, that whole, like, yeah, you know, when the pain gets great enough. And that's fine, and it's true and all, but it's bullshit that I have 8 years clean and the pain has to still get fucking great enough. I can choose to walk away at any time. But the reality is sometimes I love to be in the middle of that chaos. Because if I'm in the middle of all the chaos, then I don't have to look at Rosemary. I don't have to, it's just like whenever I get like, when I get like stuck in like that service loop, like, okay, I'm just going to serve, and I'm going to ignore my recovery needs, my spiritual journey, and I'm just going to stay as like wrapped up in all this other bullshit as I can. That is not service for the right reason. That is service because I don't want to look at Rosemary. But again, some of these things have served me well. So like when we were going through the stuff with my son, that served me well. I went and I served after some like peer pressure. No, I'm just kidding. I went and I served on this awesome convention last year, and that shit got me through the hardest time in my recovery because I threw myself into this service. But then that was over, and then here I am, like, what do I do now? And I've not taken on another service commitment because what I realized is that I'm in a place in my recovery where I need to work on Rosemary. Because like I said at the beginning today, I have a desire to stop being what I think everybody else wants me to be. I have a desire to stop caring what you think about me. I have a desire to stop wearing a mask. And I have a desire to get fucking real. Because if I don't, then I'm going to stay the fucking same. And that sucks. That sucks. Because, getting clean and then staying stagnant is like not what I came here to do. And I made some decisions early on in recovery, like 3-4 years, that like I don't even necessarily want today. But I made those big like life decisions. And so now what I'm trying to work on is like figuring out where Rosemary, the real Rosemary, that's deep down in there somewhere that I'm still trying to find, like fits into this life that she built. And like saying exactly what it is I want and I need in the relationships in my life. And like not settling for like, well, that's okay, I'll just like take a back seat. I've done that forever. I did that when I was using. If I could get you off my back or get what I wanted from you, I would just be whatever you wanted me to be. But today, I don't have to be that person. We can agree without being disagreeable. And I can apply that in my life outside of Narcotics Anonymous. And I can apply that in my home group. And I can apply that in all my relationships. And I think that it's just now dawning on me that it doesn't have to be so fucking hard. But I love to make things hard. Mouth dry. I don't know, I feel like I'm talking in circles. But today I'm like trying to figure out how to have the courage to do the things necessary to grow and to be like the person that Rosemary really wants to be. I don't exactly know who that is. I figure she's in there somewhere, and I'm excited to find out. I've had some different things happen this past year. It was like this time last year I was at this like place of like I want to make a decision to do something different with my life, to just try it out. I like to like jump on a train and see where it goes. And that's where I'm at right now. Like I'm on this like, and I don't mean to be vague, but I'm going to be. I'm on this like journey of like it's like kind of different and it's kind of scary and it's kind of challenging. And I'm excited about it, and I'm excited to see who I really am at the core when I stop people pleasing, because that defect no longer serves me. Like I think that I held on to it for a really long time. It was like a protection, kind of like if I can just, it's kind of like forever I wore my hair like super, super long so I could like hide underneath it, if that makes sense. And so today it's like I'm trying my very best to begin like looking at you and being like, Shay, I don't want to do this workshop. But I did want to do this workshop. But like that is where I'm at today. And it seems like such a elementary thing. Like I feel like with this much time in recovery, like I should be somewhere different. But the reality is like recovery for me has been this like journey of ebb and flow and up and down. And I find myself way over here, and then I find myself way over here. And my sponsor tells me not to shit all over myself. And I'm really grateful that there's not like a chart of like where you like, okay, find 8 years and then scroll across to find where you should be or like how healthy you should be. Because I feel like I would not be on the curb, I would be like somewhere else. And then sometimes I would be on the curb because it's just that way. And the person I am today is not the person I once was. And the person I am today is not who I want to be. And I know that in order to get there, I have to be willing to do the footwork. I don't have to continue letting the pain get greater and greater before I make a change in my life. I At one point, I was like 90 pounds heavier, and I had a desire to stop being like completely and utterly disgusted with myself. And so I had a desire to stop being that person, and I did it. And so like I know that I am capable of like deciding to change, putting in the footwork, and like achieving the change. I know I'm capable of it. But again, you know, I can't seem to wrap my brain around the pain doesn't have to get great enough. I think I shared once, like, okay, if you don't like where you are, then like get up and fucking move. Because sometimes I can be super, super like cut and dry. But that's where I am, and I get on my own nerves with that shit, you know, with the like instability and like I'm like unable to make a decision, and you know, I won't share in my home group because this one person's in there, and I thought he combat shared me one time a long time ago. No shit, this is real. I'm not just like making an example or a joke. I actually don't share in my home group for that reason. And that's bullshit. Because at what point am I going to realize like I have to have that desire to stop giving a fuck what you think about me, or I will end up right back where I was. I have way too much today that I would end up giving away if I continue to let like my ego and my pride and like being comfortable with the misery like get in my way of like finding out who I am, sharing honestly, and getting real. I don't know, people start leaving, I'm like, damn, I suck. No. I really don't know if I have much else to say. I'm grateful that this convention is here and it's back at Unicoi. It's like something that like always been a lot in my recovery. One thing I will say is that like I haven't gotten high since I came back this time, right? I have not had the need to pick up another white chip, and that was not. And that was because I would never let anyone run me out of the rooms, right? So I never let anything, anyone, any circumstance run me away from Narcotics Anonymous. And at this convention, my first year clean, I was like so nervous, and I was like running around with all my little friends, and like this thing happened, right? And all these girls and all my home group members like ganged up on me. At the time, that's what I thought happened. And I remember thinking like, I just will never go back. I'll just never go back. And then one girl who's like not even clean anymore was like, you're gonna let a group of people run you out and ruin your life over some fucking feelings? Because your feelings got hurt? And I'm really, really, really grateful for that girl, because she was so cut and dry with me, and she was right. When I look at my life today, it is better than I could have ever imagined. My life today is challenging, and it's painful, and it's joyous, and it's full of love and happiness, and people who love me unconditionally. The spirit of Narcotics Anonymous is full of unconditional love. If I can focus on that and like the energy that runs through it, and not on the individual people, then like I can like be free to become the person I want to be. When I stay stuck in like the personalities and the bullshit, then I'm like selling myself short. Now it sounds good here. Maybe I can actually apply it sometime. That's all I've got.
We'll open the floor for open discussion. If anyone's got anything they want to share, we got about 30 minutes. Yeah. Don't all jump up at once.
Oof. I'll keep rambling, but hey Eddie.
Hey, Eddie.
I was never blessed with the gift of desperation. I never in my life had a desire to stop using drugs, and this carried on for 46 years of my life. Okay, I was happy with everything that I did. I was successful. Sometimes in my life I stopped using drugs, but I didn't have the desire to stop. It's just something that took me away from drugs for a little bit. But the stability of things stayed in my life is I always went back to using drugs. No matter whatever happened in my life, I always used drugs. If I stopped for a week or two, it wasn't because I thought about it. Something took me away from it, but I always went back. And when I got arrested, It was the first time that I was forced to stop using drugs against my will, and it made me think about it. But I still didn't know if I wanted to stop using drugs. I was faced with I had no idea. It was the first time I was ever arrested in my life for drugs or anything like that. So I didn't know what was going to happen. But they were talking about drug court and all this stuff. They let me out of jail, but they didn't put me in drug court for about 5 or 6 weeks later, and I was just bobbling out there. And it was like, I was wondering, it was the first time in my life I was uncertain about what was going to happen with my life. But they told me to go to meetings, and I went to meetings. And I can think about it and rationalize it, but I still don't know why I went to meetings, except that I thought maybe if I went to meetings, I'd have a better chance of getting in drug court. But it wasn't about stopping using drugs yet. It was just uncertain with my life, and I didn't know what else to do. And that went on for a hell of a long time. I mean, I did the steps. I went through the whole court system. I had 2 years clean, and I still really didn't have a desire to stop using. I was just kind of floating around out there. But I knew that I didn't want to go back to being the way that I was, because I was not a very, very nice person the way that I was. I didn't treat people right. My physical life, my business life was successful. I had everything that I wanted, but I was lacking in a lot of things in my life. And I knew I didn't want to go back there. So I kept going to meetings and I kept trying. And what I found out was, and we tell this to a lot of addicts, it doesn't matter for what reason you show up at the doors. We keep coming back, okay? And I found out that desire actually grew on me. I mean, it came to a point in time where actually I thought about it and I didn't want to use drugs anymore. And it came to a point in time where I didn't think about using drugs anymore. And it wasn't a conscious effort. It was just, I kept coming back to meetings, I kept sharing, I kept doing this, I kept doing all that. When I first was doing the meetings, I got into service because my sponsor told me to. I got into area, I got into all this. But I was still the same person because I thought, well, that was cool and everybody will look up to me like this cool person doing all this shit because that's my whole life was like that. See, the drugs did not have the effect on me, the disease did. The drugs were a symptom. I did shit when I was using drugs that I could have killed myself 100 times over. But I thought it was cool and I would tell the stories to people and that would be cool. This is the self-centeredness. Everything was about me. And this part, that's the part I had a hold on. It was the disease. And that's what this is about. It's about the disease, not the drugs. I go in and out of drugs a lot. But that disease always manifested in a different way to me. It was very strong. And the drugs were just a side thing. I just did drugs. Everything I did drugs too. But it was the disease that was really ruining my life. So I never thought, well, stopping drugs is going to stop this. And it doesn't. Because when I didn't do drugs, my disease was still there. It wasn't until I was into this program for 2 years that something clicked inside of me. And sometimes we say, keep coming back to the miracle happens. The miracle happened to me when I developed that desire to stop using drugs. And I did that by hanging around with people in service and doing things with people that did not have that desire to use drugs. And it kind of rubbed off on me. Okay? And I found a better way of living. I found a better life than what I had before. I made friends. I never had a friend in my life. I made friends. Okay? And I made acquaintances and I got involved in things. And it just like happened. You come into the rooms without the desire, hang around, to me that miracle happens and that desire grows. But I know now in my past life that I did not stop using drugs through all those times because I never had a desire to. I was just stopped for some strange reason. I got married, my wife became a higher power, and I just didn't use drugs. I didn't say, I'm going to stop using drugs. It just didn't happen. See, when I started using, we probably talking about it again. Okay? I had that desire to stop using drugs. And then the second thing is, not only do I have to have the desire, I have to have the willingness to do something about it. Okay? I can sit at home and I can want an ice cream from the store and I can want it so bad and it'll never get there. I got to get up off my ass and go do it. Okay? And that's what this program. I had to get up off my ass and start working the steps and be willing to do it. It took a great desire to change me from one way of life to another, but it took the willingness to do what it took, the work that it took to get to like to actually find that new way of living and change my life. And those two together, I think, was what saved my life, and they helped me become the person that I am today. And that's all I have on the subject. Thank you.
Thanks, Eddie.
Thanks, Eddie.
I'm Ashley.
Hey, Ashley.
I want to thank you guys for sharing because everything you said really hit home with me. When I found out what NA was, it was through stuff, and I had absolutely no desire to stop using. And I came in kicking and screaming, and it was like I wasn't tired of using, but I was tired of going to jail. And they pretty much said 16 to go to prison. So I was like, that sounds like it's not a bad deal. We're going to try to get clean and see what happens. And I was that addict that didn't listen to anybody and got pregnant at 4 months clean, and my son became my higher power. Like, I showed up and did what I was supposed to do, or I did the bare minimum of what was suggested to me. I had a sponsor, but I didn't use her like a sponsor. She was a friend that would co-sign my bullshit. And, that worked for about 5 years until it didn't. And, I told myself that I made the decision to stop using, but when shit hit the fan and I stopped going to meetings and I stopped calling people and I isolated myself until I took myself right back out those doors. And I convinced myself that you guys were full of shit. And I just do it because I'm different. And I can drink a little because it's not smoking meth, so it's not as bad, in reality, I hit a rock bottom that I had never hit before. And coming back in, I had to, it wasn't mandated. And it took me looking at myself and being completely disgusted to say, I know where I need to go. And I know where my home group is, and I know that they'll be there to love me, and that saved my ass. And coming back in this time, I've managed to get 2.5 years so far, and coming back in this time, the main difference I found was that before I was just, I told myself I made that decision, and I wasn't putting commitment or action behind it, and it was just talking, I wasn't doing anything to save my ass. I was just barely getting by. And today, I call my sponsor, I work the steps, and I come to conventions, and I'm of service, and I take care of me before everybody else, and I've had to get rid of that mask, like Rosemary was saying, that I was only saying things that I thought other people would be like, oh, that's some really profound shit, or she's good at talking, and it was getting me absolutely nowhere. In reality, sometimes I'm really stuck at talking when I'm trying to impress somebody, but if I speak from my heart, it comes out the exact way my higher power wants it to. So I'm just really grateful for the program and that desire to stop using, save my ass. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ashley. Hi, Krista.
Drove 3 hours to come to this convention in South Bend region to get us my program. Tells me that the wider makes the higher my freedom. I used to go all over different doses, all over to get my recovery. Thank you for your service. Desire to stop. One of our traditions is the only requirement for desire to stop. There was a time where my desire to stop using, I've been coming to Narcotics Anonymous since I was 13, I'm 34 years old now. But my desire to stop using was always there, but my desire to not want to feel the way I felt was always much stronger. I had no question in my mind that the chemicals that I was using was destroying my life and destroying everything about me. But there was a pain inside of me that sometimes did not know how to live with and didn't know how to deal with. From a very young age. So I continued to use because I didn't know what the answers were to get out of that pain. Even though the program had been introduced to me at a young age, I think kind of like what he said, the willingness wasn't there yet. And the program tells us that the message is hope and the promise is freedom, not addiction. And I thought that everything was going to be just rainbows and unicorns if I just quit using the dope. If I could just stop using it, I would be fine. So when I finally made a pretty length of time in my recovery where I got some substantial things done, I quit using the dope, but there were so many things I wasn't willing to do. I didn't want to reshuffle with the steps, and then I'd get more, and I'm not going to do that, but I'll be alright. I'm not going to get in a relationship And I thought that was the pain, that was the pain I experienced, just kicking off without being in rehab, you know, without being in a treatment facility, like sitting in the basement for 2 weeks, taking dope, sick of the dog. Like, that was pain to me. That's enough. I don't want to go back to this if I make it my list, but I'm not going to ever go back to this. And after some years clean, I relapsed. You know, the program, it also teaches us that when our disease, let's see if I can word this correctly, the stronger our recovery gets, the stronger our diseases get. It's like let's maybe push-ups in the background. The stronger our recovery gets, the more push-ups we have, the diseases are in the background. And it's waiting for us, it's waiting to cut us off at any moment. And it picks up where it left off, and it escalates 3 times faster. And I learned that after some years clean, I got injured from a rotator cuff when I was in the hospital. And before I even dove in, my disease was already working on me, that it's going to be okay, and share your pain, and this is good, you know, it's all right. But I didn't do some things that were necessary to be taught to my sponsor. I didn't talk to my network. And then after the injury, I isolated myself. And within a matter of a couple of days, I come back out of the cockpit. And in 3 hours of using, I overdosed. And it was almost 4 minutes without having a pulse, which is almost unheard of for anybody to come back from. It's not, you know, in a vegetative state only. So when I came back into the rooms and I had to make the drugs walk, looking at my keys out of the guilt and shame and remorse that I was carrying, you know, everybody told me, keep coming back, it's going to be okay. And so for once I believed them, you know, it's going to be okay. And I realized, you know, some things I had missed. I had some reservations in my program. That was the pain that was great enough. That's where my desire finally hit. Because I'm convinced that I will not make it back. I always had a choice. I had a choice to go back out and sort of want it, but I'm convinced I'm not going to make it back. And I've seen what this program can do for me because I've done it as long as I keep it. When I stop neglecting, you know, in recovery, this chapter talks about it. When you stop neglecting step work, you stop going to meetings, you stop working with sponsors, you stop working. It says that our program stops. It doesn't say that it slows down. It doesn't say it speeds up. It stops. It puts that in there. And there's another paragraph in literature that tells us that we have never seen a Narcotics Anonymous member who, paraphrasing now, works the program in all of their, basically all their daily affairs, lives the Narcotics Anonymous program, ever relapse. It's a big word. It's a big word in there. So I'm grateful for my recovery. I'm grateful to get another chance in life. No one has the right to tell you what the bottom is. And a lot of people probably thought that my bottom should have been a long time ago. But my bottom is my bottom. I'm grateful to be able to come back and sit in this chair for a long and listen to some experience from other people and also share. I'm going to keep coming back. Thank you for letting me share.
Thanks for sharing.
My name's George, I'm at it.
George?
For me, spirituality is key. I missed last year. I've been coming to this convention quite some time now. Great topic. You know, I remember way back when I first got here, you know, somebody told me, said, you know, I got some good news and I got some bad news. The good news is you ain't never got to use again. The bad news is dope ain't your problem. And, you know, I never had a desire to stop using. Coming in the door, I had a desire to stop going to jail. I had a desire to quit beating the hell out of my girlfriend. I had a desire to quit hurting my mom, my children. You know, this thing has kind of evolved. You know, I mean, the truth, if there was no handcuffs and consequences involved, I'd still be carrying on a lot of the same bullshit I used to to do. The fact of the matter is, I got a lot of good stuff, you know, that's come to me, that's at my, you know, beck and call, if you will, because of the results of the steps and Narcotics Anonymous. And this area and this region, as far as that goes. You know, I was introduced to Narcotics Anonymous back in the late 80s, and I wasn't having that shit. You know, they were saying all the same stuff back then, you know. Don't get in a relationship the first year. Don't make any major life decisions without, you know, asking direction from your sponsor. Work the steps. I was like, man, I just need to get off that little powdery substance. You know, the rest of it I can do, but of course that we all know that's bullshit. And you know, even though it really ain't so much about using chemicals today, you know, my drugs have changed. I mean, today it's money and feeling good about myself and manipulating you to get you to do what I want you to do because it benefits what I think I need. I remember, you know, way back before I left treatment, someone telling me that, you know, that when what I needed and what I wanted kind of matched up real good, and I knew I was hitting on all eight. Kind of, you know, all 8 cylinders for any of y'all that you play the card. You know, what that means is that God's will for my life is to be happy, to not fuck you over, to not, you know, not induce my misery on the world around me. That's something I still struggle with today. It's a lot better than it used to be, but you know, about once a day somebody does something that George don't like, and it's time to call you on your shit. My God. And you know, yesterday, Friday afternoon, I made it all the way to about 3:30, and my God, there was this one guy that was just screaming to get cussed out, and it was hilarious because I had a commitment to talk to somebody about another convention commitment. We were doing a Zoom meeting scheduled at 4 o'clock. I'm on the phone with one customer. This asshole calls, and the other guy's calling while I'm waiting on the phone to talk to the one I want to cuss out. And I'm sitting there, and God's like, all right, dumbass, hang up the phone, make the other phone call that you previously committed to do, and you can text your customer and tell them to call back in a minute. And so I did that, and, you know, I didn't prove myself to be the asshole that I am with the one person that I wanted to cuss out. And I handled my commitment, and I dealt with my customer as well. And, you know, probably still need to do a little bit of writing with that one guy, but, you know, other than that, the desire to stop inducing my misery on you has been greatly reduced today. And that comes from the steps. You know, as much as I want to, you know, I still struggle with meditation. I don't have a problem, you know, praying for God's will and you know, the knowledge of that will and the power to carry it out. But boy, I'm not sitting around very long and waiting to hear what God's got to say about it. I just struggle with it. Because I know it's not God's will for me to steal from you. I know it's not God's will for me to smoke crack. I know it's not God's will for me to cuss my wife out. You know, to be an asshole to people in my home group. And some of them need, you know, being an asshole too, but I was told,
Damn it.
but I was told a long time ago I probably wasn't the person to do that because I enjoyed it so much. And there's some truth to that, you know, because the first 6 step I did, you know, my sponsor and I at the time, we talked about, you know, my enjoyment in stepping on your toes and pissing in your cornflakes. And that's, I don't really believe that's why God left me You know, they told me when I got here to get a suit. They said, you're gonna be going to some weddings, you're gonna be going to some funerals. And I've been to quite a few since I've been here. You know, and I got a lot of not-yets here. All my family's still healthy. My dad finally retired this year, 79 years old. And my dad today, you know, is my best friend. And when I got here, they were not happy with me. My dad's an attorney in a small town in South Georgia, and I was in town cracking. You know, I went to jail, that little county jail, 27 times out of the 35 that I've been in the state of Georgia. They were not very proud of me. I get to talk to my parents every day today. My life's good. And it's just from following what y'all showed me to do. And you know, like I said, when I read that about the desire to stop, it is about stop using, but it ain't just about using chemicals. You know, it's about stop using my ability to manipulate you, my ability to be hateful, my ability to be cold-hearted to your wants, needs, and desires. Grateful to be clean today. Glad y'all are here. Thanks for letting me share.
Thanks, George. That's all the time we have. I'm an addict. My name's Joe. If you want to circle up, and we'll close with a serenity prayer. Serenity prayer. Serenity prayer. Serenity prayer. Serenity prayer. Serenity prayer.